Hi, my name's Rachel Beasley of Equisentient Coaching, and I wanted to pop on to do a Facebook Live with you to share about the Equisentient coaching cards that I've just recently launched for pre-order. I've had a number of questions about them, and I thought, why not pop on and cover those questions for you, and also tell you about a call I'll be doing tomorrow where I'll actually be able to draw a card specifically for you. So, first question, why did I create them in the first place? I created them because I really wanted to showcase the sentience of horses that I experience time and time again, both in person but also through the remote readings that I do with my clients, and also their wisdom. I learn something every single time I do a call with my clients, and clients being the horses and the person. Their insights, their wisdom, their uncanny understanding of things. I really just wanted to be able to bring that out and showcase it to people obviously that own horses and may already have that personal experience, but then also to the world, really, to people that might have had a love for horses as a child, but have kind of lost that connection with them, or just generally for people that are interested in mindfulness, in terms of just being, still and connected to ourselves. There's so many qualities that horses can bring to our lives. And the card deck does this for people. It brings their presence to life with you in person, even though they're not with you and they're through a photograph. I can't quite explain how it works, and you kind of have to experience it yourself to get a deeper sense of it, but it does. So that was my why. How I went about it, I approached a very good friend of mine, David Harris. He had very kindly let me use one of his pictures of one of his herd on my website, and I love David and his energy, and his regard for horses. And so I approached him and said, this is the idea I have, would you be up for sharing your portfolio of equine images? He loves taking photos, and let me kind of take my pick and see which horses would like to engage in this project. And fortunately he loved the idea, and so he sourced me with his entire portfolio of images that he's taken over the last 10 years, if not longer. And it was the second file that I opened. So as soon as I started to see the horses that you'll start to see in the cards, I just knew, I just had that feeling where I was like, these are the ones, these are the horses that are going to bring these cards together into life. And here they are. So they are essentially a 44 card deck. The horses that you see featured are horses that David photographed back in 2012, the summer of 2012, at a horse sanctuary called Return to Freedom in California. And I feel like they were up for being involved from the get-go. The horse on the front cover here is the one that I first connected with and discussed the idea with him, and then he gave me his message. So how it works is that you've essentially got the guidebook and you've got the cards. So the cards are 44 different images of horses at the sanctuary. So I can kind of show you a few samples here. And what I've done is I've connected with each one of these horses. Sometimes it's actually a group of horses, and I've written down the message that they had, and that message has then gone into the guidebook. So that's the cover horse, and you can see that there's a mare literally behind him. It's really, really kind of clever in terms of the ear positions and just their synchronicity, essentially. So here's the guidebook. I'll pop things down, and what I've done is you have the horses all detailed chronologically according to the number that they've been given, and then I've detailed their messages. And then for more information about the horses, at the back I've detailed a glossary. So this is a prototype, and it's not the final layout, but this is an idea. You basically are able to kind of look at each individual horse featured, and then we've detailed their name, their date of birth, and then their herd. So if you want a bit more information, you can do that. I specifically didn't actually put their names on the actual card or in the initial information, because I really wanted the reader to have their own experience, and sometimes even a name can influence your impressions of somebody or a horse or an animal. And so I wanted to kind of keep it really clean and enable somebody just to literally have that experience with them. And so how do you use them? You use them in any way you wish to. So I've kind of given some guidance in the guidebook, and I'll show you how I use them. But essentially when they're yours, and you can use them however you want to. You can use them for a bit of fun, for a bit of inspiration on a given day, simply by, I normally shuffle them. So what I've liked is I kind of kept them really quite small. It's kind of perhaps not so easy to see in terms of the video and the way I've kind of configured it, but they kind of sit really nicely in my hand. And I will shuffle them, and then I will just pull a card at random, like this one. And then I will sit with that card for a few moments and think, if I were to guess, and I say this to my clients, if you were to guess what's this horse saying to you, what's their message for you? And that might be just what you do. You might not actually be interested in their message at all. You just want to kind of have a look at a couple of cards and just see how you feel in response to them. If you are interested in the message, then you can go to the guidebook. So this one I numbered 26. And so you go to the guidebook, number 26, and here she is. And I'll read this one so you have a sense of how the messages come together. So because I've had the prototype, I've been able to share them with some friends, some family, and also with a few clients actually. And I love that they meet you where you are. So if you just want something light, they give you something light. If you're a bit like me and you quite like a bit of a deeper meaningful, then they give you that too. Someone said actually you could pull the same card time and time again, but because the messages are quite multi-layered, you could take away something different every single time. And that's also why I didn't try to summarize the cards with a phrase or just even one word. I kind of wanted to kind of keep it open so that you kind of had that experience whenever you drew them. So this card's message was, or this mare's message was, life presents many truths, dependent on the door that you choose to open and the view you decide to give your focus to. Perspective is everything. Don't be too hard on yourself. Soften that focus once in a while. Allow yourself to glimpse an alternative. A story made up to explain the moving parts and roles being played out, each character with overt and unconscious drivers. The scene is far more complex than we can give it credit. We may never truly understand what is played out and how we, with changing parts and all the, and how can we, with changing parts and all the complexities at play. The message here is to engage in this if you must, for reflection is learning. Self-awareness a great navigational tool, and yet trust yourself. In your inspired moments to do the best you can and trust that that's enough. Grant it permission to be, relax into living without so many conditions, and simply be you in the moment. And before I started the video actually, I kind of set the intention that this would be for you guys to kind of have an insight. But equally that's relevant to me right now actually. I'm kind of smiling to myself because, you know, it's always a little bit nervous getting on a live video on Facebook. And essentially they're saying to me, just relax, you know, just deliver the message and trust yourself in that process. So that was my takeaway from that card, and you may have your own, literally in this moment or when you listen to it. So that's kind of a glimpse into how the cards work. You can do like layout. Some people will pull out 3 different cards. So they might have one that represents the past, the present and the future. I had somebody work with the cards a little while ago actually, and she ended up picking up 5. So not really a horse lover at all, never used cards or anything like that in the past, but she was curious about them and interested. So I was like, well, have a play, and you know, I'll just read you out the messages that I'd done so far, because I hadn't actually finished the pack at that point. So I had the first prototype, but not all of the cards, and I didn't have the guidebook, but I had all of my handwritten notes. And she was really moved actually by the messages, and found afterwards that it had made a real difference for her, a huge difference, and she's still raving about the cards now actually. She's telling everyone they almost changed her life, because it really gave her a different perspective on a situation, and she said she just felt incredibly different and that something had shifted. So it's kind of the power of the cards. They do have that power to really move you, heal you, offer you insight, a fresh perspective, a new way of looking at things. And the choice is yours. It's just how you wish to engage with them. And the call that I'm going to do tomorrow evening, so on Thursday at 8 o'clock GMT time, what I thought I could do is I'd go onto a live video, and if you're on the video and you just literally mention on the thread that you would like me to pull a card, I can have you and my thoughts, and then I'll pull one and I'll read the message for you, so you can kind of get to see how they work in that regard. As I mentioned right at the very start of the video, they are now available for pre-order. They will be with us in the UK and in the States by the very first week of December, if not a little earlier, but I've had it guaranteed that will be when they arrive. So in the UK, people will be receiving them the week of the 4th of December, if not maybe a little earlier. And with the first 100 pre-orders, and I know that we're still a little underneath that at the moment, there's a free A4 poster that will be sent to you. So it's actually the cover horse, but in the landscape style. So you may have seen previously when I was kind of shopping through, he came up, and it's actually a longer image. So there's the A4 poster that will be sent to the first 100 orders. And the other thing to mention is that 40% of the net profits go to the horses. So actually the cover horse negotiated this with me at the beginning of the process. He said, let's just get clear. And I think it was because it was something that was very much on my mind. I really wanted to ensure that I honoured both David the photographer and the horses in the process, because they would never have existed without all of the different people at play. And so actually David very kindly has contributed his 20% of the net profits to the organisation. So my 20 and his 20 combined have come to 40% of the net profits, and they'll go to the sanctuary to support the wild horses currently, but also in the future, and all that Return to Freedom do in terms of the advocacy for wild horses over in the States. Please do have a look at their page. You know, it's a really important time at the moment in terms of what they're trying to get through with the legislation. So if you can offer your support, if you're American, and you're based over there, that would be brilliant. And there are other ways that you can offer your support too. So I'll leave you to explore that. If you have any questions, if there's anything else you would love to ask me, by all means pop it on the thread, message me privately. I hope that's been a lovely kind of introduction to them, and I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow evening to share more of them. Thank you very much. Have a gorgeous day. Bye.